Well, here we are in the last week of our class, and this week we're going to be talking about how to end your online class. And I don't want to just end a class. I want to end a class with impact. So let's talk about some of that. The end of the course is a really critical time. It's the final chance to reinforce the concepts, the education, the learning outcomes that have been so prevalent through the term with your students. But let's be honest, for many of us, the end happens just before the end of the course surveys. But really, we should be looking towards the end when we start week one. We want to make sure our students have a positive attitude from day one, not just in the last week. The end is also a marketing time. You don't want to wait till the very last second for students to turn in their end of course surveys. If your participants leave the virtual classroom feeling as though their time was well spent, they felt a sense of community, and they felt that you as the professor were available, those end of course surveys will be fine and they'll take care of themselves. So, what should be included in that last week? Well, the many things I'm going to share with you right now really are my own ideas, and these are things I like to use in my last week with my students. First of all, I like to look at the course description with my students. I post that and say, read the course description. Did I hit it? Is that what we really focused on in this term? What were the main focuses that you're going to take away from this class? And I try to send that to them maybe in an email sometimes. Sometimes I might even post it in the discussion as an extra piece that I'd like to have them talk about. I think it's a good idea to start looking at the end of the course from the beginning of the course. And the way I like to do that is sometimes I will ask my students, what do you want to get out of this class? You can read the learning objectives. You can see what chapters, what topics we're going to cover. But personally, what is it you want to get out of this class? And then I take that information and I save it until the last week. And then I try to call back, relate back to those students who participated in that idea and ask them if we hit the mark. Did I reach the topics? Did I discuss the topics? Did I give you information that you wanted from week one? I think it's also important to ask participants to share their most valuable takeaways. Now, this is not like the Chinese restaurant where you get one from column A and one from column B and your takeaway, but this allows us to reinforce the skills that have been taught and hopefully have been learned in this class. It also puts the responsibility back on the student for saying, how am I going to link this information to my job, to my family, to real world problem solving? What did I learn in this class? We can also ask students to discuss how they're going to take this new information back to their job. Some of them will be teachers, some will be marketers, some will be administration. There's a really wide range of jobs that they're all coming from, but hopefully some of the new knowledge is going to relate back to their job. As we go along, too, I like to ask how they are becoming stronger and better leaders. How are they taking the information that was presented in this class and sharing it with their colleagues and their peers? That's really what information is all about, and it's certainly a good way to transfer knowledge. I'm going to talk about something now that maybe some of you have never heard of, and it's called, oh my goodness, it's just called relapse. Relapse. And relapse means that you go backwards. So if you've had an illness and suddenly the illness comes back, you're in relapse. But there are many reasons not to incorporate what we learn into everyday operations. That is relapsing to the old ways. So if you learn something new in the class that you're taking, and you thought, well, I should really take that to my job. I should really apply it. That was good information. But for one reason or another, you don't do that, then we need to know why relapse has happened. A relapse prevention strategy includes identifying the obstacles that may arise in practicing the new skills. So most people, or many people, on the 1st of January make a goal for the future that they're going to get more exercise, they're going to have a better diet. But suddenly by about the 15th of January, they relapse back into the old way. So I ask students to think about what they learned in this class, the whole term we were together. What's one of the things that they really want to take to their colleagues or they want to incorporate in their own job? How did they do that? Or did they have relapse? I always think that the final weeks, final days of the course should be celebration. And I try to send congratulatory notes or posts to my students. I want to recognize the hard work that they did. And I know they had to overcome family and jobs and time commitments, but they made it. They made it all the way to the end. And for some, that was certainly a lot easier than others. But we need to celebrate that final outcome with all of our students. And then I think we need a strong closing statement. Many times I will add a quote. There's some quotes that you can find online that have to do with education. But I have one that I'm going to just put out there, and you can see if you like it. And the quote says, "I've worked too hard and too long to stop now or to let anything stand in my way. I've made it through this course. I can make it through others." So by having that quote, and sometimes it will ask students to print out their quotes and put them on the mirrors in the bathroom or put them in their cars and think about those quotes. What is it going to take to carry you through to your next course and the course after that and the course after that? What are you taking from this course that's going to be a foundation on which you can build that next knowledge? Plato said, "The beginning is the most important part." He was right. But for us, as educators, the end is our last chance to interact with our students in a course. And that is nearly as important as the beginning.